What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the original Bama Tailgate Show. Really, you're on the YouTube channel, the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. This is the recording, which we do every week, of the our odd segment. And we got Kenny White from out in Vegas. He's our sharp, fantastic guy, baseball guy, by the way, as from one baseball guy to another. And then Reagan from R&R Cigar. And what we're going to do is we're going to record the segment that's going to play around the state of Alabama on Saturday. So when you're watching this and you hear us talking, we're talking like it's Saturday, and that's why. So some of these, a lot of the show's done live, and then we do a couple of pre-recorded segments. But it's been fun hanging out with you guys. I see you lighting a cigar, Reagan and Kenny. Thanks for doing this.
Our pleasure.
All right, you guys want to add anything else before we get going?
Hey, just
hope everybody has fun.
Have fun. Yeah, that's a good idea. We're trying to pick winners, and but that's sometimes difficult. There's always a winner and a loser. But Reagan's been doing great. He's been knocking it dead, and I echo his sentiment. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Well, the I'm going to add post-production the thing that has our standings on there, but Reagan's a game up on you, Kenny, and I'm 2-10. And when we push it, we all win on that one. So that's how we've always done it. So if there wasn't 1 second left, then I would have won and you guys would have lost, right? The Notre Dame Ohio State game, but I guess we all won that one.
Yeah. Well, Mick, you're moving up. Last week you were 1-8. Now you're 2-10. That's a better record.
Hey, I still think I have a chance. You guys,
Yes,
I've gotten hot before. Now that baseball's over, I can spend a lot more time paying attention to this stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, let's get it going. And I want to tell you this: I've had a great time hanging out with you, Reagan, every Friday when we've been in Tuscaloosa. Thanks for the hospitality.
Always happy to do it, man. We've enjoyed having you and Ryan and Corey Miller and all the pals coming in for the games. It's always a fun time to see y'all and to be with everybody, and always a good time.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, because your family's there, you're there. Our friends are coming over there. It's kind of becoming a thing. Cheryl Yingling, by the way, asked me about your place for when she's coming to town for Tennessee. So
yeah, hope she
said, come on. Yep. I said, come on. All right, here we go. You guys will hear the music, and that's when this thing officially gets going. Welcome back to the original Bama Football Tailgate Show, and we talk Alabama football. They play late tonight against Mississippi State. I don't know why I said Ole Miss. I know it's a different part of the state, right? But they play late tonight, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time, and the Crimson Tide are big favorites in that game. We're going to talk about that game and more. This is our odd segment, always brought to you by our good friends down at Pearl River Resort. It's a great time to make your picks count at Pearl River Resort, by the way, in the Timeout Sports Lounge. So it's about an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa. It's our little slice of Vegas, very close to Alabama and Mississippi, Philadelphia, Mississippi, and Choctaw. The Golden Moon Casino is fantastic. You got great golf over there and all the table games and everything else. So I'll talk more about that as we move on. But it's great to see you guys again. Reagan from R&R Cigar. He's with us each week. This is like Joe's versus pros. And our pro is Kenny White from out in Vegas. You deserve that, Kenny. You've been doing this for a long time. Tell everyone as we get going here how they can find you and your power ratings and help their picks, because I'm not allowed to read the power ratings. I'm picking against you each week. And the standings reflect that. Reagan's 8-4, you're 7-5, and I'm 2-10.
Well, Mick, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy doing the show with you and Reagan. It's always a lot of fun. So, I've been in this business over 30 years, setting the betting lines. Now I'm on the other side of the counter, betting against those lines that other people are making now. So, it's a challenge every day. It's a roller coaster ride, but you got to be ready. You never know when that hot streak's coming. I know you're 2-10. You got a 10-2 streak coming really soon. My power ratings are probably the best value in anybody betting sports. Those are updated every week after the games. They're manually and automated updates on those. So, they're updated for injuries as well, which makes it very, very important for people who are betting. You got to know who's in and who's out. So $20 a month gets you NFL power ratings, college football power ratings, Major League Baseball projections. I'm coming out with NBA and NHL soon. I'm working on both those sports right now. And then college basketball. So $20 a month, you get all of that. You decide what you want to bet by seeing the biggest differences of what the line is that I make the line and what the betting line is. And that's just the best way, I think, to do it for anybody.
Sounds great. Well, let's get into it. And Kenny, you're one of the best in the business. Reagan's been on a hot streak. This has been a very interesting start to the season. So, guys, let's get things going right here. A lot of SEC action that we're going to talk about tonight. And one of them is South Carolina is at Tennessee. Last year, it was South Carolina that derailed Tennessee's playoff chances with an upset, just thrashing of the Vols in Columbia. This year, well, it's Tennessee at hosting South Carolina. A little revenge. This game way earlier in the season. Reagan, I'll start with you. You're on fire right now. How do you see this one going down?
You know what? I like South Carolina. I really do. I'm not buying into the Tennessee hype. I saw Tennessee get absolutely mollywopped by Florida. Again, I always say don't overthink it, but I think when it comes down to the teams here, I like Spencer Rattler over Joe Milton. And South Carolina, maybe I'm listening to Corey Miller too much, but, I like South Carolina to cover that 11.5.
Yep. You get the points there on the road in a rivalry game. It's a rivalry game. What about you, Kenny?
Yeah, I like South Carolina. I've been on them a lot this year. Shane Beamer, I think, is a tremendous coach, one of the up and comers in the college football world. Obviously, his dad was a Hall of Famer, Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, but Shane has coached at many different stops under many different Hall of Fame coaches, and he's learned the trade well. And I like what I've seen out of this team the last couple of years. They're well prepared every single week. They come to play, and last year they really took it to Tennessee, so you'd think there'd be a huge revenge factor here, but I can't give a revenge factor when South Carolina is going on the road. They know what they're going into. They know it's going to be hostile. They know Tennessee wants revenge. And Beamer's telling them they want to beat you by 50. And if you don't come to play, they're going to. And I think the Gamecocks will be ready. I think they've got the talent to hang in there. And I think they got the talent to keep this game close. So, yeah, I'll take the points as well as Reagan did.
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, both of these teams had early season losses. You talk about Tennessee, Reagan, and they lost to Florida. Well, North Carolina's got a really good quarterback, and they beat South Carolina at the beginning of the year, kind of held close at the beginning and then pulled away at the end. So I know that you guys are right with 11.5, but I'm also way back in the standings, and I've got to roll the dice a little bit. So what I'm hoping is that Joe Milton is able to move the ball for Tennessee, throw some deep passes, something that Tennessee has to have to win the style of football that they play. 11.5 is a lot of points, but the way that things have gone for me anyway, with every game that I think I'm going to be right, I'm wrong. Might as well go against my instincts, and I'll take Tennessee and give up the 11 at home. All right, second game, LSU is at Ole Miss. Kenny, I'll let you start this one. We just saw Lane Kiffin and his bunch get beaten up by Alabama in the second half on Saturday. This is their season. They lose this ball game, and I think Lane Kiffin would be in some trouble as the head coach maybe, and this program would be as well on the momentum that they had last year before losing out at the end of the season. And for LSU, they got beat by Florida State, called out by Brian Kelly, and they've been a better football team since then.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that about Lane Kiffin, that he could be on the hot seat. No shame losing at Alabama to the Crimson Tide. Not playing well. Obviously, we all loved Alabama last week because we knew they were going to bounce back. And Mississippi, I still think is a very good football team. Jackson Dart, I think, is a heck of a quarterback. I think they're gonna show up this game at home. I don't have a huge difference here. I think it's a pick'em type game. I think you can flip a coin. I think if they played 100 times, each team will win 50. So give me the plus 2.5 with Ole Miss here and Lane Kiffin to save his job.
Reagan?
I don't see it. I really don't. I think LSU wins. I don't really think it's terribly close. I think that this game's a recipe for disaster for Ole Miss, coming off the road to Alabama. I think Ole Miss is absolutely hanging their heads about not winning last week. And they all kind of sat. It's kind of all wasn't my computer. It was kind of sad boy about well, we thought this was our chance to get them. I don't. I think Jaden Daniels gave Pete a fit last year with better players. And I love Pete, but I think that LSU is a better team, and I think Ole Miss is a 7-5 team. I really do. I've thought that from the beginning of the season. I think they go back to being 7-5, and I think that 2 losses in a row is one of the ways that they do it.
I agree with you. I feel the same way. I think they got exposed last week.
I feel bad about my pick.
Well, look, I know this. You should be in trouble because I'm going right with you.
Now, Mick.
But I feel the same exact way. I think that that they don't have the players to compete with LSU or Alabama. You got all the talk that Lane Kiffin did last week, and then he leaves with egg on his face. Last year, Alabama beat him, and then they lost all the games after that. For Ole Miss to be in the upper echelon of the SEC, these are the games that they have to win. And all of a sudden, you look at Lane Kiffin, and you're like, well, what's the best win you ever had? Oh, we beat Indiana in a bowl game. So this is trouble for Ole Miss. They need this game a lot more than LSU to me, but Brian Kelly's a better coach, and they're a better program. I'm with you, Reagan. So that should tell you something right there. All right. Last game we're going to pick, Bama at Mississippi State. I'll start us off, guys. Mississippi State is an opportunity for this Alabama team to continue what they did in the second half. Alabama has struggled on the road to put teams away, but for whatever reason, it hasn't been in Starkville lately. Now, that was with Mike Leach, a guy that we all love and miss, but Nick Saban and Pete Golding did a good job against that air raid offense. Now it's a pro set offense. Zach Arnett is the head coach of this team. They're trying to find an identity. Looked like they found some of it last week against South Carolina. It could be tough. Alabama's had a hard time putting teams away, and 14.5 points, a touchdown plus. Could Alabama blow these guys out after what we saw at South Carolina? I don't know, but I bet against Alabama last week and they won. I'm going to do it again. I'm taking Mississippi State into 14 points, 14.5. I think Alabama wins the game. I would love to be wrong in this one. I've been wrong a lot this year. So that's why I'm going to go with State. Kenny?
I'm on State as well. A very low scoring game. This total obviously at 42. I think it should be lower than that. I think that this game could be played in the 30s. Obviously, both teams combined scoring here. Mississippi State's played a couple of really poor games, but against some really good quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler. So Milroe's a good quarterback, but he's not the type of guy to beat you with his arm. I think Mississippi State has to make some adjustments here. Could be a little bit of a letdown for Alabama coming off the Mississippi win. Always, beating Lane Kiffin is going to be big for them. They do have Texas A&M on deck. They won 30-6 in this game last year. It could be much of the same again, but I think Mississippi State really needs to come to play. I like the 14.5. It's not a big play for me because I did make the game 13. I don't have a big difference here, but I do lean to Mississippi State, so that'll be my official play.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I would bet this one in the real world. I just don't know what to make of Alabama yet. Reagan?
I like Alabama. I mean, guys are on the Tide pregame show.
I took Bama to win, but not by 14.5.
Both weeks in a row. That's why I'm the number one in the standings. So it's okay. I mean, you guys can hate on the Tide and doubt I'm not going to do that because I believe in our team and I believe I believe. So I think Alabama wins something along the lines of 31-13 this week. I think that they've figured out a little bit of identity on offense. I liked what I saw last week versus Ole Miss. I liked the play calling for the most part. It was still a couple stupid penalties that shot him in the foot, and I think they had a much better game plan going in for Ole Miss, and I like what they did. I really like what they did on offense last week. It was not the same boring stuff we'd seen. They went to a lot of 2 tight end sets and 3 tight end sets, and I think that helped a lot. They got away from it a little bit in the red zone, and it was a bad. I mean, how many times are they going to have a bad snap before they make a change? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I've said the same thing.
But I mean, you're talking about the 1st and goal at the 1, and you kick a field goal, and then another play in the red zone, and you throw a pick. You've left 11 points on the board, and then the game is not even remotely close. That was my computer, and and if they just run the ball up the middle, their quarterback sneak it, then we're talking about a much different game. And
I know score there.
So
Reagan.
I think Alabama wins by the 14.5. I'm taking the Tide.
All right, and tell us about R&R Cigar. What do you got cracking?
Well, I mean, it's another big football weekend. Well, I guess it's late, so the game's going to be over, and then we're probably going to be closing soon after the game. But tomorrow we'll have the NFL Sunday Ticket, and I think there's a UFC fight coming up soon. And we have a lot of cool stuff in October. We're getting ready for the Victory Cigars. We have a special Victory Cigar coming out this year that you will only be able to buy at R&R specifically for the Alabama-Tennessee game. So that's going to be really fun to debut on the show in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Well, great hanging out with you guys, and we'll do it again next week. And again, our segment always brought to you by the people at Pearl River Resort, our good buddies over there, Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, and the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. They offer traditional sports betting in which guests can bet on all professional sports and major college sporting events. Bet on your favorite team, catch the game in that beautiful, comfortable Timeout Lounge. 20 TVs with feeds from all the major sports networks, 12 state-of-the-art odds wager boards listing the games and the scores, 3 wager stations to place in bets in person, a full bar. They got it all right there at the Timeout Sports Lounge in Philadelphia, Mississippi. We're going to talk Alabama and Mississippi State. More of the Bama Tailgate Show coming up.